If you're not familiar with,
This meeting is being recorded.
want me to start over?
No, just read the last part.
If you're not familiar with basic HTML, CSS syntax, we suggest you complete our HTML and CSS courses first before starting this one.
Okay, let's hit continue. And this is just a kind of pretty much this whole first section is a refresher of stuff we've already gone over. But what are the answers here?
Complete the HTML web document. Head,
Good.
should be open P.
Yep, not one. And
Yeah,
you said head earlier, right?
Yeah. P body.
He said head earlier, so the well, it's got to be the closing head though.
Oh yeah.
Well, you got them like flip flop. Close it. Good. Okay. And then what's the last one?
Should be the closing body.
Good. Lewis, we're doing responsive web design. All right. Brian A., can you read this one?
Responsive web design. Responsive web design is the practice of building websites that can adapt to every device at every screen size. A responsive website is enabled on different screen sizes, from large desktops to small mobile screens. The main concept of a representative web design is building layouts that respond to screen size change by adapting and changing the style of the page.
Can you answer this, Brian?
Which of the following best describes the term representative web design? I would say adapting to different screen sizes.
Perfect. That's the whole point of it. Mostly for mobile phones, but also when you like shrink your browser down to like half size and stuff. But yeah, good. Patricia A., can you read this one?
Course project. Let's take a look at the project we will build, a generic landing page for an app. This is how it will look like on a desktop. As you can see, the landing page has a number of sections: a header with text and a button, a features section, a quotes section, a footer with a menu. A landing page is where users land when clicking on promotional marketing links. For example, when you want to promote your app, you share its landing page URL on social and other media.
Okay.
And opening a squiggly tag.
Good.
And then color.
Yep.
No, wait.
Perfect. No,
yeah.
you're right. Good.
Yeah, I think I wanted to add someone's mic is on and it was very distracting to read in the background.
There we go. I fixed it. I muted
background
him.
noise.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. I muted him. Samantha A., would you mind reading this one? Or Samantha D. I don't know why I called you Samantha A.
Course project. We will create the landing page as a responsive page so it can adapt to different screen sizes. For example, this is how it will look on the mobile. As you can see, some sections change their layout on mobile. For example, the features section and the footer menu become vertical lists. The download button gets wider, etc.
Okay.
Image tag. Is it image URL?
Not URL. We say something different for the source of
Source, SRC, yeah.
Yeah, good. And Bill C, can you read this one? Bill C, are you there?
Oops, I was unmuted.
Oh, okay.
HTML structure. Let's start by building the basic HTML structure of our landing page. We will start by building the desktop version and then we'll add it for mobile and make it responsive. We will use HTML5 semantic tags to define the sections. We use a header tag for the header section, tags for the features, and quote sections, and a footer tag for the footer. We gave corresponding class names to the features and quote sections so we can define CSS styles for them. We do not have any CSS styles defined yet, so the sections are just white blocks with dummy text.
Okay.
Fill in the blanks to define a section element and give it the class name description. That would be.
Do you need some help?
Yeah, and I'm going back looking.
Yeah, let me help you out. Remember, it says define a section element and give it a class name description. So first thing should come to your mind is section. So type of section there, and they want a class for description. So give it the description class, and then give it a closing tag section.
Good job, Peter. Appreciate the help. Oh, let's go back. And Jacob M, can you read this one?
Now we need to add some basic CSS styles to give our section some color and size. We have used padding to give sections some height. Since we provide only 2 values for padding, it will set both the top and bottom padding to provide value. Padding 40 px 0 is the same as padding 40 px 0, 40 px 0. We have defined background and text colors for the section. We have not given any width to the sections, so they will occupy the entire width available. This means that when the screen is resized, the section's width will always remain 100% of the available width. Since we are planning to create a responsive page, we do not establish any fixed width values for our sections. Rather, we make it occupy the entire width of the screen. Run the code and see results.
Let's actually look at the try it yourself, just so you can see what it looks like so far. Not much, but it's all broken up into its sections and everything. Okay, let's close that.
What will be the bottom margin of the div with the following style? That'd be 30.
No, That was a good guess. It's actually 15. So they were just asking for the bottom margin, and you got to remember, it goes clockwise starting from the top. So, top, right, bottom, left, and since they're defining 2 right there, then it just doubles for the other. So it's going to be top
Just-
15, 0, 15, 0. So,
Okay.
okay, let's hit continue. And Roger Chang.
What is the total height of the following element? Let's see, dot test height 10 px. Oh, 10.
No.
Oh, 15.
Well, so your
Dot
height
bottom.
is going to include your height and your padding. So what do you think it is with and remember, if you just do the 2, it repeats itself for like.
Oh, so it's 20 then, right? Because the 5
Perfect.
repeats itself.
Yep, perfect. Mark H.
Fill in the blank to give the page a valid title. So it'll be HTML, open tag, head.
Good.
Second one be title,
Good.
and last one will be closing title.
Perfect. Lewis L. Would you mind doing this one?
Yes, fill in the blanks to make the element with ID text take the full width of the page. ID it's a dot or is it a hashtag?
ID is hashtag, class is dot.
Oh, class is dot. Okay, so hashtag and then width.
Good.
Percent.
Good. All right. Kevin B, can you do this one?
The HTML5 section element is a block level element.
Perfect. All right. Fabian, can you read this one?
Sure. Building the header. Now that we have the basic structure of our page, we can start building each of its sections. Let's start with the header. We use H1 and H2 tags for the text and an A tag for the button. Also, we wrap the whole header on a container div so we can style it with CSS. We define corresponding classes for our container div and the download now link. Run the code to see the result. Now it's time to add some CSS style.
Let's click try it yourself and run that. And if you see what they did in the CSS, they just did some padding of 80. And you remember, margin is on the outside, padding is on the inside of your element. So they did padding of 80, and since it's just 80 and 0, then it doubles itself. So it's both the top and the bottom has 80, and then just text align center. So yeah, let's close that. Let's hit try it yourself. Or I mean, close. Yeah, there you go. And next. And what's the answer, Fabian?
How do you define CSS style for an element with class test? How do you define the CSS style for an element with class test? It's going to be that test.
Perfect. Okay, and back to the top. David S., can you read this one?
I'm behind one. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. We'll just come back to you. Peter, can you read this one?
Ah, they got me. Building the header. Now it's time to add CSS styles to our header elements. Let's start with H1 and H2 tags. Here we define the font sizes and margins. Try it yourself. Recall how the margin values work. The first value is the top margin, the second value is the right margin. The third is the bottom margin, and the last one defines the left margin. This means the values go in the clockwise, clockwise. Oh no, that's counter. Clockwise direction. Starting from the top. Okay. Let's see.
So an
So
easier way to do what you did there would just be margin bottom, because you can do margin dash top, margin dash left, margin dash right to define just that. And so you wouldn't have to put all those zeros. So just something to remember. Okay, let's hit try it yourself. So you guys see it.
Okay, let's see. So that would be okay. So if there's no zeros, then you could put any number there.
What was that?
Oh, so the zeros represent the top, right?
Yeah, the
you
top,
choose.
left, and right are all zeros for the margin. So they're just doing 16 pixels for the bottom.
Okay.
Okay, and let's close that and continue.
Nice the left margin. The following definition of margin. 16, 5, 20, 10. 15, 5, 20, 10, 10. Yes.
Yep, perfect, because it goes starting at the top clockwise. So the last one would be left. All right. David, are you caught up?
Yes, I am.
Okay, can you do this one?
Yeah. Building the header. Of our container div, we will define the following styles. Since our header takes the full width of the browser, we limited the maximum width the text container can have to 900 pixels using the max width property. This makes the div stop expanding so that the text does not get too wide. Because we will reuse the container class for the other sections, we define some left and right paddings, which ensures that the child element stays 20 pixels away from the edges of the screen. Margin zero auto ensures that content stays at the center of the container, irrespective of its size. On a screen that is larger than 900 pixels in width, the container div will have the width of 900 pixels, so we align it to the center of the screen.
Let's click try it yourself. And then go ahead and grab the edge of the web page thing so you can resize it. Well, not that one, but yeah, that. And you see how when you resize it, it still stays centered and everything. But something important to remember is what they just taught you about the zero auto. That's a good trick to remember for keeping your stuff centered and everything. Okay, let's close that.
What does zero auto do? Aligns the elements to the vertical center.
Well, not to the vertical center.
Oh, aligns the elements to the center of its parent.
Perfect. All right. Brian A., can you read this next one?
Building the header. Our header is almost ready. However, currently our download now button is just a link without any style. Now, to make it look like a button, we need to add the following styles. The display properly reflects the display behavior of the element. We have set it into blocks so that link behaves as an inline block container. We have also set the colors and the font size as well as the border radius, resulting in rounded corners.
And there you go. All right.
Fill in the blanks and define the style, rounds, and corners of the element with the 5 pixel radius and set the 1 pixel black border. So it's going to be a border radius 5 pixels, then a border 1 pixel solid black.
Good. Patricia A., can you
Give me a second. Can you please mute your mic? You have a background in here.
Yeah,
There we go. Okay. Patricia A., can you read this one?
Yeah. Building the header.
I had trouble hearing. I'm sorry, I had trouble hearing the answer to the second one.
Oh, border radius and border.
And border. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, border dash radius, but yeah.
Okay. Building the header. Our button also needs a hover effect, so it changes its background color when the mouse hovers over it. To define the style, we use the hover selector. Now when the cursor hovers over the button's background color changes. Our header section is ready. Run the code to see the results.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
All right. And expand it and shrink it and okay. And there's nothing you can watch shrink it so it's click back, shrink it so it's yeah, like that. So it's like going outside of the download now. Like just make it a little smaller. Keep going, keep going. Yeah, there's like nothing you can do about that if they make it that small that the text is not gonna fit. Well, I mean you could with responsive, but like it would be ridiculous. But yeah, so anyway, that's styled pretty much as good as you're gonna do. All right, let's close that.
Maybe hover and then background.
Good on the hover, but there's something we have to do because it's a what's it called, a pseudo element. So you have to put, oh, he gave you the answer. He put it's colon and then hover.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah.
And then what's the next one? And it's not background. It's for the text.
Oh, it's text. Wait.
So for the text, you just put. You need help with this one?
Hey,
I'm afraid I do.
think about what it says on the word. Gives you a clue. It says color to white.
Color.
Yep, perfect. With text,
Yes,
all you
thank
do
you.
is color. With if it was the background, you were right. You would do background dash color, but
Yeah.
with just text, it's just that. So, all right. Lewis L, can you read this next one?
Yes. Is it the feature section?
Yes.
Okay, let's start building our feature section. This section contains 3 features along with an image and a text. The features are lying horizontally next to each other. We will use our container div to wrap all the elements of the feature section. Each feature is wrapped in a div class feature, which we will use to position the features. It contains an image and a paragraph of text. Right now, they are simply positioned below each other, so we need to add some CSS styles to fix that. We are using sample image files that we have uploaded to our server. Why are the feature divs positioned below each other? Because divs are block out level elements.
Perfect. So block level elements stack, right on top of each other. Like paragraphs, you put multiple paragraphs, they'll go down a line and everything. And just a refresher, so inline elements, they go, right next to each other, like horizontally. But another good feature to know is inline block, which, so with regular inline, you can't set the size and width, but with inline block, you can set the size and width and they'll still stack up next to each other. So it's kind of like float left. But anyway, let's keep going. Bill C, can you read this one?
The feature section. In order to position the feature divs next to each other horizontally, we will use display inline block to make them inline level block containers and provide a width. Because we have 3 features, we gave each feature div 32% of the width of their container. The remaining space will be left for the space between the elements. We also set the width of the image to be 40% of their container. By using only percent values for the width, the features will always remain next to each other and be positioned horizontally in respective to the browser width.
Okay. And then let's adjust the size. Bigger, smaller, still next to each other till you get so small that it has to. But all right. Let's go to the next one.
You have 2 div elements on your page. You need to position them so that the first div occupies 70% of the page, and while the second div takes the remaining 30%. The first top should be div.
No, it's because we've already specified the divs ID is class first, so we're already in it. Now we're just assigning values and everything. So it wants it to be 70%.
Right.
For the what? It's not height, it's the
width.
Perfect.
70%.
Good. And what do we use? So
Text block? No.
no. So remember, there's inline, there's block elements, and then there's
Outline.
no. Does somebody want to help him?
Inline block.
Perfect. Okay. And
Next to each other, right? Side to side.
yeah, they're stacked left to right, but then you can adjust. The difference between block is you can adjust the height and width of the div, so it's useful. Okay, and Bill, what's this last one?
Display.
Perfect. Right. And Samantha D, can you read this next one?
The quote section. Our quote section contains a testimonial from a satisfied customer. Let's build the HTML using semantic tags. We used the block quote tag as the container and reused our container class on it. Inside the block quote, we have a paragraph of text representing the quote and a site tag containing the name of the customer. The block quote element specifies a section that is quoted, while the site is used to define a title.
So with site, you could do the same thing as italics, but whatever. The I tag, but it's more specific.
Build the correct HTML structure to display text from Sololearn. Block quote.
Good.
Hey, Brandon, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Hey, what last course are we doing after CSS?
After CSS, we're doing JavaScript. Or wait. Well, right now we're doing responsive web design, but this one's pretty short. Once we're done with this, we're going to be moving to JavaScript and then jQuery.
Okay.
And then Python and then SQL.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Keep going, Samantha.
It was P.
Good.
Our closing P tag. Open site tag.
Good.
And then / block quote.
Good. What? No. Site. There you go. With the C. Like citing a source. Yeah. Okay. And / / there we go. Great. And Jacob M, can you read this next one?
The quote section, time to define the styles. First, we need to reset the padding margin of the block quote element since the browsers have some default values for them. We also define the font size and margins for the elements. Last but not least, we use the before selector to set the dash before the site element. We could have added the dash in the text of the site tag, but this is a fancier way of doing the same thing.
Okay.
The quote section, fill in the blanks to add 3 stars before and after all div elements of the page. Is that before?
Perfect.
Then then it would be the content.
Perfect.
Then it would be the div.
Perfect.
Should finish that off.
All right. Roger Chang, can you read the next one?
Building the footer. The last section of our landing page is the footer. It contains a menu and copyright text. It is a common practice to use a list for the menu items. We have reused our container div to provide the necessary padding and center alignment. Each of the menu links are contained in list items. The copyright text is a simple paragraph. By default, the list items are styled as a vertical bullet list. We will change the style with CSS in the next part of this lesson.
Okay.
Fill in the blanks to create the list of items. LI1 /
Good.
LI-2 / LI.
Good.
LI.
Good.
And closing UL.
Perfect. All right, Kevin B, can you read this next one?
Building the footer, here's the CSS. To make the menu list horizontal and remove the bullets, we used list style none for the unordered list element. We also set display inline block for the list items to make them inline level element containers, and so they are positioned next to each other horizontally. The rest of the styles are simple text and background colors, as well as text sizes. Run the code to see the result. We have completed building the desktop version of our landing page. However, while it always occupies the entire width of the browser, it is not really responsive, as the layout remains the same for smaller screens and is not very mobile friendly. We will make it responsive in the next module.
All right, let's hit try it yourself and run it. And there you go. All right, so let's click continue.
Fill in the blanks to align the list items to the left, position them below each other, and remove the bullet point. List style.
Perfect.
None.
Good.
And text align.
Good. And for y'all that don't remember, list style none is what you do to get rid of the bullets. Mark H.
Define the correct style for the UL and LI elements to arrange the list elements next to each other horizontally without any bullet points. So UL, second one is none.
Good.
Look again.
I'll give you a hint. I just told you this one.
Yeah. Line style, did you guess?
List style, yeah.
Oh, list style. Sorry, list style. LI, the display.
Good. And we want them right next to each other.
In line.
Good. All right. Fabian, can you do this one?
Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Your HTML page has two div elements with the IDs left and right. Define the correct CSS style to make the left div take 60% of the page and the right 40% and the right div 40% of the page. So the first one is going to be hashtag.
Good.
So hashtag left, the width for the left, it's 60, so 60%.
Good.
And then the second one is going to be the hashtag right.
Good.
And then this one is going to be, the width is going to be 40%.
Good. All right. Timothy Flex, can you do this one? Or are you
I'm
caught
actually-
up with that? Are you caught up
I'm-
with us or no?
I'm still behind, but I'm on number 2 or number 3 right now. You guys are number 8. So I'm behind.
Oh.
You want me to back out the room and come back when in a little bit or what?
No, that's fine. You could stay. I just
Okay.
wasn't sure if you were with us. I'll just call somebody else.
All right, thank you.
All right, back to the top. David S., can you read this one?
Your HTML includes 3 div elements with some content. Define the correct style to make the divs arrange horizontally next to each other instead of being on separate lines. Also define a 1 pix wide green border for the divs. The first one is going to be div.
Good.
Display.
Good.
Border.
Good.
Green.
Perfect. Peter, can you read this one?
What would be the total width of the phone div? Div with 100 padding, 10 margin 5. What would be the total width of the phone div? Let me see something here. Let's see. Where are you finding? 10. Geez. That's very interesting. Width is 100, the one the total width of the div. 130.
No, I think you're trying to include margin. So with width, you don't include margin. It's just your width and then your border, but we don't have border here. And then your padding. So with width, then so your padding, you're right, 10. It does 10 all around. So you've got your 100 and then 10 on top, 10 on bottom. So it's 120. So, but good. You had the right idea. Okay, so we're gonna stop here. I know we normally go for an hour on the actual training, but you guys just finished CSS, so I want to give you guys time to work on your website more. And then if you guys have any questions on on what you're trying to do for your website, and also here, I'm gonna go ahead and do screen share for a sec. So just a reminder that I'm just going to go through this with you guys, just in case you guys haven't. So like if you're looking for inspiration for what your website could look like, it's totally fine to look at other things and then try and mimic it, as long as you're not just, even though it's free, you literally could just download this and then use it. That would defeat the purpose of learning and building your own. But yeah, if you just like come to this and just scroll through here, and there's other ones too. There's others. You don't have to just do this free CSS one. There's also like HTML5 up is a really good one. They've got their sites are responsive, and they add more stuff you wouldn't be able to do yet until we get through like jQuery and JavaScript and stuff as well. But lots of like modern sites you could look at to try and get an idea of how you want to design your site. Definitely don't try and just leave it like the example in Sololearn for CSS, the whole resume thing. I get that they were like doing the same thing, but you probably want to have it look different than that and look more like a website, because I mean your potential employers are going to be looking at it and they're going to want to see that your website looks like a website, so they know you can build websites for them. But you, like I said, you don't have to be a creative genius to do this. You can get inspiration from looking at other sites, and like if you see one you like or whatever, right, and you click it, and you can do the free demo, or not free demo, the live demo, and click it and actually see, you know, totally what the site looks like, and not just that, you know, the picture that they display. So something to definitely consider. So, all right, I'm going to stop and even if you've like already been working on your site and you're like, oh, I don't want to rebuild it to look like something else. Like, okay, some of y'all, your sites are already looking really good. Like Mike, your site is looking really good. Kevin and like a few other, I don't remember the other ones I saw, but that were looking really good. So like don't feel like you need to change it, but if you guys are like, if all you've really done is just have it look exactly like the one that Sololearn did on CSS, you might want to consider changing it. And look, we're only a month in, so you guys have plenty of time. You can be working on this for while we're doing other courses, and you'll just learn stuff to put in later. So don't feel like you need to be done like right now with your resume. So it's totally fine to rework it. All right, so I'm gonna stop